In the heart of the unforgiving north, where the icy winds howl like hungry wolves, lived a Viking warrior known as Hakon Ironblood. His beard was the color of a winter sunset, and his eyes held the cold fire of a northern star. Hakon wasn't just a man of muscle and steel. He was the Jarl of his clan, a bastion of strength for his people against the encroaching frost. But a new, unnatural cold was creeping into their lands. It wasn't the familiar bite of winter. It was a chilling dread that seeped into the very bones of the earth. Travelers and scouts brought back terrifying tales. From the frozen peaks of the Dragon's Tooth Mountains, a shadow had descended. A being known as the Frozen Necromancer, a sorcerer draped in robes of hoarfrost and wielding a staff of black ice, was twisting the land to his will. The snow itself seemed to obey him, and worse, the dead did not rest. Ancient burial grounds were desecrated, and the fallen warriors of old, the Draugr, were rising from their icy graves, their eyes burning with an eerie blue light. The Necromancer's army was a grotesque legion of frostbitten corpses, shambling through the snow, their rusted armor clattering in the deathly silence. They were relentless, feeling no pain, no fear, only the cold, empty command of their master. Villagers on the frontier fell one by one, their hearth fires extinguished and their people added to the growing ranks of the undead. Fear began to poison the hearts of Hakon's clan. The warriors, who had faced down Krokans and rival Jarls, now whispered in fear of an enemy that could not be killed by an axe alone. Hakon knew he couldn't let this terror fester. He stood before his longhouse, the great hall shivering under the weight of the grim news. He slammed his legendary axe Frostfang into the great oak table. The runes carved into its blade glowed with a faint ethereal light. "This is not a battle of men against men," he roared, his voice echoing through the hall. "This is a battle for the soul of our land. We will not cower behind our walls while a sorcerer defiles our ancestors and steals our future. We will take the fight to him." His words were a fire in the cold. Hope, fragile but fierce, was rekindled. Hakon gathered his most trusted warriors, the Ironbloods, a shield wall of veterans who had fought alongside him for decades. They weren't just soldiers, they were brothers, bound by oaths and shared blood. They knew this mission might be their last, but to die fighting a shadow was better than to live under its dominion. They sharpened their blades, mended their mail, and sought the blessings of the old gods. The clan's seer, an old woman with eyes like clouded ice, gifted Hakon a charm of petrified wood, said to ward off unholy magic. Under a sky the color of bruised steel, Hakon and his small warband set out. They marched north into the heart of the unnatural winter. The landscape grew more twisted the closer they got to the mountains. The trees were skeletal, coated in a black, glittering frost. Ghastly ice sculptures, frozen in poses of agony, littered their path. The air grew so cold it hurt to breathe. They fought skirmishes along the way, clashing with skeletal sentinels and Draugr patrols. Each fight was a brutal, desperate struggle. Axes bit into frozen flesh, but for every Draugr that fell, two more seemed to rise from the snow. The Ironbloods were losing men, but their resolve never wavered. Finally, they reached the Necromancer's fortress, a citadel carved from a living glacier. Its walls pulsed with a malevolent blue glow, and the screams of trapped souls were carried on the wind. At the gate stood the Necromancer's champion, a hulking Draugr lord clad in obsidian armor, wielding a massive, jagged ice blade. He was once a great hero, now a twisted puppet. Hakon met him head-on. It was a duel of titans, Frostfang against the cursed ice blade. Sparks flew as steel met enchanted ice. Hakon, using his experience and brute strength, found an opening, shattering the Draugr's armor, and finally silencing the corrupted hero. Breaching the fortress, they found the Necromancer in the central ice cavern, a vast chamber where he conducted his dark ritual. He stood atop a dais of black ice, a maelstrom of souls swirling around him. The air crackled with raw power. "You are too late, mortal," the Necromancer hissed, his voice a grating of ice on stone. "This world will be reborn in my image, a perfect, silent kingdom of frost and death." As his warriors held off the endless tide of undead, Hakon charged. He leaped across a chasm, dodging shards of ice and bolts of necrotic energy. He was a force of nature, a Viking's fury against a sorcerer's cold ambition. The seer's charm on his neck flared, deflecting a curse that would have frozen his heart solid. He reached the dais, bringing Frostfang down in a mighty arc. The Necromancer parried with his staff, and the impact sent a shockwave that cracked the very glacier. The duel was a whirlwind of motion and magic. Hakon fought with the spirit of his ancestors, his every blow a testament to life and defiance. The Necromancer fought with the cold, calculated cruelty of the grave. Finally, Hakon saw his chance. Faking a high swing, he dropped low, sweeping the Necromancer's legs out from under him. As the sorcerer fell, Hakon plunged Frostfang deep into his chest. There was no scream, only a deafening crack, as if the world's oldest glacier had split in two. The necromancer shattered into a million pieces of black ice, his dark magic imploding. The swirling souls were released, ascending like a column of light. Across the land, the Drogor army collapsed, their blue eyes dimmed, finally returning to their long-awaited rest. The unnatural winter began to recede, and for the first time in months, a ray of genuine sunlight broke through the clouds. Hakon Ironblood stood victorious, his breath misting in the air, the silent guardian of the north, his legend now carved forever into the sagas. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this tale from the annals of fantasy, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more epic stories. See you next time.